Hello, my name is Jesse Collins. I am going to be presenting today on college and career readiness for Mrs. Shaw's English 102 class. Um, I am going to share a presentation through PowerPoint. So I'm going to share my screen here. And let's see if I can get this slideshow to start here. Well, like I said, I'm going to give a presentation on college and career readiness for English 102. It was the topic that I chose when choosing a topic for a research paper. Um, when I started thinking about topics, there's many topics that I considered, but I found this topic to be kind of very true to my life and very something I felt very dearly about. Um, Kind of a history of myself. Uh, when I was in school in 2001, graduated high school in 2001, I was pushed very heavily into going to college. Um, I'm not a real studious person. I'm a hands-on guy. I like to get dirty. I like to physically touch something to figure out how to use it. So going to college was probably not the best step for me straight out of high school. So I ended up going to a total of three colleges within about 4 semesters. Ended up failing out and found myself lost, unsure what to do. Ended up back at uh, uh, back at home while wondering what to do. So looked up and ended up finding a job in a trade, which I was introduced to in high school. It was electrical trade. I went to work and was able to uh, learn a trade and consider myself having a pretty successful career. So, the big question I have is, are students ready for life after high school? Uh, you know, I have trouble believing that they are. Um, the reason for that is my past experiences and, you know, um, realizing that, college is really at the frontmost and pushed hard on kids. Uh, and it's not, college is not for everyone. You can have a very successful life in earning a trade and not going to college. So, or going to trade school, or a community college that has emphasis in a trade. Uh, so, um, so today, in my opinion, today's kids, our students, um, are steered in one direction and not multiple pathways. What are schools changing? Um, Here recently, the schools have started, implementing pathway programs. What are these programs? They're implementing them as early as middle school to lead kids in different directions. Um, the way that these pathways are established through partnerships with schools and universities and employers to determine what kids need to actually learn to prepare themselves for life after high school. Um, and so we're starting to see a little bit of that. Starting to see schools do that. We're also seeing schools that have introduced harder curriculum. Uh, I believe that some of the harder curriculum has not been as successful through my studies. Seeing higher fail rates, kids being harder on themselves. Kids that might be ready to go to college and learn how to do these harder curriculums are getting the harder curriculums thrown on them and failing. And then the parents are doubting if they're really ready to go to college or and they're doubting themselves and making it hard on them to make a decision on what they want to do and what next step they need to take. like I said, I think the true solution is partnerships. It's a win-win for everyone. If we can find the partnerships with employers, colleges, trade schools, community schools, universities, students learn early as middle school, the paths that are out there that may interest them. So when kids find paths that interest them, they're more likely to succeed. They're more apt to give their 100%. Parents save money. If a kid chooses what he wants to do before he enters college, he doesn't change his major 2 or 3 times, extending the time that it needs to complete their college career, if that's the path they choose. Or if they don't go to college at all and they go straight to work, getting into an internship or a journeymanship to learn how to do a certain trade. Parents don't have to foot that bill for a kid to go discover that college is not for them, not like I had to do. You'll also find that university dropout rates will decrease because the kids that are there are prepared to be there, and they want to be there, and they're in the path that they want to proceed for the rest of their life. So should help uh, kids, complete graduation and earn a diploma. And another thing that it really benefits is employers. Employers have say on what kids are educated on through their life or through their high school and middle school career. Once those kids graduate, they're prepared or trained to go in a specialized field that employer is looking for. So, straight out of high school, kids can go start earning money because they are prepared to go to work. Um, what what is what are the reasons for these changes? What's causing these changes? Educators are realizing that everyone has a different path. Not everyone is made to college. Not everyone is ready to go to school. Some kids are not mature enough to move out on their own. They still need that extra hand at help at home. Um, so again, introducing these pathways is helping steer kids in the direction that interests them in a career that they want to do for the rest of their life. And again, that might change, but for the most part, if you're doing something you're interested in, you're going to do what you can to make sure that you're ready and you learn everything about that career that you can. College and trade schools are getting more involved. Community colleges, they're reaching out to the high schools, to the middle schools, saying, "Hey, there's other avenues out there that we need to look at, especially the trade schools and community colleges." They're implementing more trade classes and training. Just here locally, you see a lot more of the, you know, AIT program, the alignment program. They're all trades that kids that might not be ready to, like me, they're not good at English 102, not good at grammar, but they're great at solving problems, troubleshooting, physical labor. Uh, you know, that puts them in a path that they're not wasting their time on something they're not good at, and getting them to exceed in something that's going to prepare them later on in life and for a great career. So, and then there's a lot of what we're finding is another reason for these changes is a lot of kids are going to school and they're not ready for school. They're getting there, lasting a year, maybe a semester, and coming home because they don't have the grades to continue, or they run out of money because they don't know how to manage their money to successfully be a college student. The pathways, like I said, mentioned, the students have the opportunity to explore more options. When you're in middle school and high school, you're really not thinking about what you want to do for the rest of your life. But if you have people come in that introduce you to different occupations that are out there, it might help you kind of say, hey, I'm interested in that. I want to learn more about that. So, at 7th, 8th grade, you might not actually pick the pathway you want to go, but it's pointing you in a direction, showing you what your interests are, and, helping you, whether you realize it or not, helping you pick a career that will help you succeed and not fail. Not forced to take an ACT or SAT. Um, you know, we're seeing now that kids that are going into a trade, why take an ACT? Why take an SAT? It's not benefiting you. All it's doing is setting you up for failure. And the last thing we want to do is teach kids that you got to fail. We want to make sure that why waste time, waste money on a test that's not going to do anything for you later on. Heading into immediate careers after high school, um, these pathways help you prepare for that. They give you the option to introduce you to what these employers are looking for. So you're ready to, when I get out of high school, I can go work for this such and such employer because this is what they're looking for. I've learned this in high school. So, and then, again, the option to go, instead of going straight to employer, going to a trade. So that way when you do go to a employer, you're educated in the trade that you're going to do. Ready to start an internship and maybe start with higher money. Already have a good understanding of your job to become a journeyman or even more. What are college and career factors? In today's world, ACT scores is the big one. Everybody wants to know what's your ACT score. Is it high enough to get in college? Is that determining if you're ready for college or not? I don't believe so. Not always, not everybody's good test takers. It's just not always an effective way to determine if college is, the path that you want to take. Another big factor if you're going to go to college or not is can you afford it? Can you come up with the money to pay the bills? Can you come up with loans or grants to go to college? A lot of times parents don't have the money to do that. And students definitely don't because you come straight out of high school. So unfortunately, in today's world, money's factor in almost everything we do. So we don't want to waste money and go to college if we're not going to stick it out and it's not going to benefit us in any way. We'd be better off going to a career or going to a trade that doesn't put us in that financial burden. And another big factor is, kids are not getting the education they need to prepare them for the life after high school. The curriculum is an old-based curriculum that needs some updates. That's just the way it is. So, I need to look into those solutions. Effects. Educators have realized the success of students starts by preparing early. So getting these pathways into these middle schoolers and maybe even younger, just educating, maybe having trademen come in and present at elementary school. But just making sure we're getting those pathways, start to see them earlier and earlier, getting kids interested and educated on what careers are out there, what's available, what pathways can I even look at, maybe pursue them in a later date. We also, like I said, we're realizing the ACT and SAT are not the only tools needed to determine readiness. We can introduce questionnaires or different forms of testing to make sure that what are these kids interested in? What do they want to? What really makes them want to learn and dig into? And then once the effects of today's world standardized testing and SAT, ACTs, when a bad score comes in, it results in people being frustrated. It also results in self-doubt. It results in parents doubting, should I send your kid to college or not? So one bad score can change the effect of the way a parent sees you going to college or not, where you go to college or not, and I don't think that's right. Like I said, one bad test shouldn't determine if I should be able to go to college and that's what I want to do or the path that I want to pursue. Another thing that we're seeing is just because high school comes easy, college doesn't always do that. And again, it goes back to really preparing these kids for college. In high school, they're able to come in the morning before, get the homework done, and still make A's and B's. And they get to college and they realize that, it may take 2 or 3 hours after school to actually get my work done. But they're not prepared to do that. They don't have the work ethic to do that, and haven't been trained how to properly do that. Past solutions. So what have they tried to do in the past? They've tried to implement measuring tools such as ACTs, SATs, standardized testing. But that doesn't evaluate the success of the student's interest in a trade. So, you're really just seeing if they're college students or not. And not everybody is a college student. So, you're going to have to look at something else. Another, that keeps kids from, if they don't have the pathways to follow or go, students don't know what's out there, don't know how to follow a path because they haven't been introduced to it. So that's, I don't see that being a successful implementation to make things better. They've also tried implementing harder curriculum to, like I said, prepare kids for college. The problem with that is, just because you implement the harder curriculum doesn't mean you're training on the harder curriculum. You're not getting it taught the way it needs to be taught. You're just throwing it out to the students, and it's resulting in some higher failure rates, and which is causing self-doubt and causing kids to give up, and maybe even keep them from pursuing a college career just because of the harder curriculum. So I just don't see those past solutions being the answer. Partnerships and calibration. Like I said, I really think collaboration is going to be the key for it. We need employers, universities, and trade schools all to work together, to come up with a curriculum that's going to prepare kids for the workforce if college is not the right pathway for them. And if it is, still a curriculum that's preparing them to go to college. Preparing students for the proper education to choose the pathway in college, pointing them in the direction that they need to go. And doing this will save students and parents money, bearing down the students' interest before college. So, they got a direction, they know where they're going, so they don't have to waste that money exploring opportunities and options. The big plan of action is to bridge that gap between schools and employers and universities. Ensure that the education is being provided for more than just college. So we're getting that education out there that kids need to go to work in a factory, to go do a trade, but that our schools are implementing those educations as well. So how do we do that? We talk to employers to see the recommendations. What should we be training these kids to prepare them and get them ready to move on to life after school? So what do we need to do there? We need multiple pathways introduced to them with different interests, talents, likes, dislikes. We're going to put these pathways in front of these kids so they know what they are. That way they can find out which one is right for them. Need to introduce them early, early as middle school, maybe even earlier. So they're seeing them and learning about them before they have to make a decision. So we can also implement questionnaires and personality tests. So what's this doing? It's discovering the likes and dislikes, which help point out to students the career that might be right for them. So with these questionnaires, they might not like doing them, they might think they're silly, but when it comes down to it, it shows what their strong points are, shows what they're interested in, and helps them make a decision and gives them options that might help them succeed if they don't. So what's the big outcome? What do we want to do to make this happen? We make sure we got plenty of counselors to train and educate on career pathways. Now you're going to workshops. We're going to these workshops and get tools to help students understand the pathways, but whether it be employers that are putting on these workshops or other educators putting on workshops. We just need to be able to make sure we have plenty of tools to help these students succeed and find and see what pathways are out there. We need new studies. What I mean by new studies, we need to make sure that we are changing our curriculum to include college and career readiness assessment. So we want to make sure that we're assessing, every pathway that's out there. To do this, when we use the assessments, we can identify, kids strong in problem solving or communication skills, critical thinking skills. And, it helps point them in the right direction. Rebuttal. College and career readiness is centered around test scores and finances. Whether we like it or not, what we do after high school, these two things are big decision makers that help make that decision. Whether it's right or not, that's the way it is. So our school is really preparing us for life after school. Like I said, I don't believe that to be so. I truly believe that we can do better with the partnerships of employers and universities, and changing the curriculum to fit more than just one path and open up multiple paths for these students to succeed. And if things don't change, students are not going to be prepared to support our economic infrastructure. We've already seen shortages in certain trades, such as plumbers or electricians, because they're not being trained about these careers at an early age. Civilians won't be able to contribute to SAC. So, these kids are not going to be ready, not going to be prepared, or to succeed, or to help keep our country running. So, that's just a quick rundown of my research paper. Again, we need to get together, find a way to keep these kids interested in whatever path they may want to pursue, or that will help them succeed, to help save money, build our ecosystem, and help provide for our country. That's all I've got. Appreciate it, and thank you for your